Missing files, blacked out documents, and your tax money in the balance.
Tonight, the 11 Alive investigators are looking into the biggest agreements the state has with for-profit companies.
Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe is here with the documents that the state didn't want you to see.
That's right. First, Georgia said we couldn't have copies of these multi-billion-dollar contracts. Then the state gave us copies with several pages entirely blacked out, concealing how your tax money is being spent. One of those billion-dollar contracts was completely missing, that of a company with an executive who is also a powerful lawmaker.
And we have to come back and get this B, right? Because that's part of the word.
Ellen Roberts has dedicated her life to helping children with special needs.
Push up.
That's why the speech pathologist spoke out when Georgia was deciding to make its Medicaid kids go through HMOs to get treatment.
They, by all means, are private companies, and their job is to make a profit.
Ellen criticized Georgia's Medicaid HMO program on national television. But while she was writing dozens of letters to elected officials, someone else was writing letters of their own to the state, anonymously accusing the therapist of felony Medicaid fraud.
You took on a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it nearly cost you everything.
It did.
Ellen Roberts was indicted and arrested for conspiracy to commit Medicaid fraud. She spent 5 years and all her savings defending herself. Then, just 10 days before trial, state prosecutors mysteriously dropped all charges, admitting they didn't have a case.
In your mind, they tried to shut you up.
Yes.
And even at all of this cost, it didn't work.
No.
Ellen thought she could find the answers here.
Georgia Department of Community Health Board to order, please.
The Department of Community Health oversees contracts with 3 Medicaid HMOs, but the agency refused to let Ellen see those public agreements, so we asked for copies under the Open Records Act.
The first response we got was, you can't see these contracts at all because of trade secrets.
On the phone, Department of Community Health officials told us the agency would not talk with us on camera about Georgia's most expensive vendor agreements. State payment records show the 3 HMOs got $3.9 billion in tax money last year. After our appeal, DCH gave us this flash drive containing folders for each vendor. But some pages were entirely blacked out. There was another folder on the drive labeled AmeriGroup. The company received more than $1 billion from the state last year, but the folder was empty. The contract was missing.
The only folder that was empty is the AmeriGroup folder. Entire pages of the contracts we received are blanked out. Don't you think the people ought to be able to see where their money is going, especially when we're talking about billions of dollars?
Well, I don't know what documents you're referencing, and I don't have anything to do with contracts, and I don't know what contracts you're talking about. I'm in the legislative branch. I'm chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee.
Senator Renee Unterman is correct. The chair of Health and Human Services has nothing to do with the Medicaid contracts managed by DCH. But the senator does have something to do with AmeriGroup.
When I went to work for AmeriGroup, they already had the contract.
Senator Unterman's financial disclosures list her as a corporate executive with AmeriGroup back to 2005. State records show the company got the Medicaid contract 2 months before the senator chose to take a job as health policy director for one of the state's newest and biggest vendors.
These are the most lucrative contracts the state of Georgia has with any private vendor. And you work for one of those companies. It's worth about $1 billion a year. And you work for the company as an insurance executive, and you're also the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee. How do you keep those separate?
Well, like I said before, and I'll restate it again, I'm part of the legislative branch, and what I do is write laws and develop policy. And that's part of the executive branch, and I don't have anything to do with that.
But she did have something to do with managed care 2 years before taking a job with one of the HMOs. The senator sponsored this bill in 2003, one of the first attempts to put Georgia's Medicaid kids in HMOs, but without competitive bidding.
What role did you play advocating for managed care in the beginning?
I don't remember that I played in any managed role except that I wanted that predictability.
Senator Unterman's official Senate bio made no mention of her decade of employment with AmeriGroup. That is, until after our interview. Here's the before and after. Her job as the state contractor's health policy director was quietly added in recent days to a Senate biography still dated August 2013.
How much does AmeriGroup pay you every year?
AmeriGroup pays me commensurate with my nursing degree and my social work degree. I have seen on the internet where there's fallacies about how much I do make.
Don't you think the people who elected you deserve to know how much money a private insurance company is paying the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee?
Well, like I said, I think I answered your question that I'm paid commensurate with what a registered professional nurse is. I don't have a license anymore in nursing.
Senator, I
Yeah, please.
we've got a pack schedule.
Yeah, no, please.
So we need to kind of wrap this up.
Okay.
Aides interrupted the interview 3 times once we started asking about the senator's other job.
Piece of notepaper. Okay.
And we found no evidence Senator Unterman or AmeriGroup have broken any laws. The senator satisfied all legal requirements by reporting her employment on those financial disclosures. But she also helped write the Senate ethics rules. Who was the chair of the ethics committee the year Renee Unterman went to work for AmeriGroup? Renee Unterman was in charge of Senate ethics that year.
Eye-opening to say the least. And AmeriGroup Georgia just won another state contract. So have you talked to the company?
Yes, indeed they did. The state just decided to give AmeriGroup the exclusive contract to be the HMO for all of Georgia's foster kids. We asked AmeriGroup several questions, Brenda, but the company didn't respond directly. Instead, the Senate press office gave us the state contractor's written answers on behalf of the company.
All right. I'm sure you're not through digging on this.
No, more on 11alive.com as
All right.
well, Brenda.
Thank
Thanks.
you.